Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Extraordinary discoveries from the world of coins continue to surprise and fascinate us, and today we dive into one of the most intriguing tales of modern numismatics, a story that defies expectation, logic, and even the understanding of seasoned collectors, a story about a seemingly ordinary coin, the 1998 D. Lincoln 1 cent, that has become the subject of heated discussions, auctions, and numismatic fascination after it surfaced with such rare and dramatic errors that it commanded a jaw-dropping $82 million price tag. Now that might seem impossible to many, but once we begin to unravel the intricate layers of what makes this specific coin so unique and valuable, you'll see how a tiny copper-plated zinc disc, weighing only 2.5 grams, has rewritten what collectors thought they knew about modern minting errors, production flaws, and historical anomalies. The story begins at the Denver Mint in 1998, a year that to the average person may hold no special significance, but for coin collectors and historians, that year hides one of the most confounding minting mysteries of the last century. Out of the billions of coins minted that year, one single cent emerged bearing such a baffling combination of errors and anomalies that numismatic experts have debated its origin and meaning for decades. What separates this particular 1998 D penny from its billions of counterparts are the layers of mistakes layered upon one another, errors so rare that each by itself would merit attention, but together they elevate the coin into a league of its own. The first error observed on this remarkable coin is a double strike, which is when the coin is struck twice by the dies, but unlike most double strikes where the coin shifts slightly between strikes, creating a visible but predictable offset, this 1998 D penny exhibits an unusual 90-degree rotation between strikes, with the second strike creating a ghostly impression of Lincoln's portrait turned sideways, overlapping the original upright bust. This strange rotational double strike alone would make the coin worth tens of thousands, but this is only the beginning. On closer examination, the planchette, the blank metal disc the design is stamped onto, was found to be improperly prepared, containing lamination flaws where the surface appears to be peeling or delaminating, indicating contamination or metallurgical imperfections in the copper plating process. These types of errors are incredibly rare in late 20th century minting because of the high standards enforced in US mints, but here they are, clearly present and dramatically visible. Furthermore, the reverse side of the coin reveals a wildly misaligned die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between at some point during the minting process, leaving behind eerie impressions of Lincoln's face in reverse on the memorial building, a ghost image that adds a layer of surreal mystery to the coin's appearance. To add to the intrigue, parts of the inscription, such as the motto "In God We Trust," appear to be missing due to grease-filled die errors, where debris or lubricants filled parts of the die, preventing the full design from being imprinted on the planchette. Such errors are usually considered minor, but in combination with the others, they elevate the mystique and value of the coin exponentially. And still the rabbit hole goes deeper. Under microscopic analysis, the edges of the coin reveal signs of a partial collar strike, meaning that the coin was not properly secured during the striking process, causing a distorted, lopsided rim. This adds yet another layer of technical error, emphasizing that this particular cent was a victim of multiple breakdowns in the minting process, breakdowns that, when considered together, make the coin a 1 in billions occurrence. Adding even more drama is the question of how such a profoundly flawed coin ever left the mint at all. Many speculate that it could have been deliberately kept or removed by someone with access, considering how rigorously quality control is maintained at the Denver Mint. There is also the theory that this coin was created during a transitional testing phase, possibly an experimental piece that accidentally got into circulation, similar to how the 1943 bronze cents or the 1955 doubled dies became legends because of their unintentional releases. And then there's the mint mark itself, the D for Denver, which appears oddly placed and exhibits doubling, suggesting the possibility of an overpunched mint mark or even hand punching, a method largely phased out decades earlier. This peculiar doubling on the mint mark has raised eyebrows among experts, some arguing that this is the remnant of an abandoned die or a leftover from a previous year's production, while others believe it could indicate a rare repunched mint mark situation, which collectors prize immensely. Beyond the visible errors, collectors were stunned to discover that the coin's weight deviated slightly from standard specifications. While the modern Lincoln cents since 1982 are supposed to weigh exactly 2.5 grams, this 1998 D specimen weighs 2.69 grams, hinting at either an improperly mixed planchette or the presence of foreign metal inclusions, which could indicate that the wrong stock material was accidentally used. Testing revealed slightly higher levels of nickel and tin, supporting the theory that this was not just a flawed strike, but a mistake that began even before the planchette was created. This opens up even more questions. Was this a rogue experimental alloy being tested? Was this a one-off accident involving leftover materials? Was the coin an unsanctioned piece or the result of mechanical sabotage or negligence? And then there's the provenance of the coin. Its discovery story reads like a modern treasure hunt. It was reportedly found in an old coffee can filled with loose change at a rural estate sale in Colorado in the mid-2010s by an amateur collector who was sifting through coins simply out of boredom, and immediately knew that something wasn't right. After submitting it to multiple grading authorities, the coin was authenticated and certified by several of the top-tier coin grading institutions, each confirming the errors and assigning it a unique serial number that would forever mark it as a singular object of historical and monetary importance. The coin's eventual appearance at a private auction shook the numismatic world when it shattered all expectations, fetching an unprecedented $82 million from an anonymous collector rumored to be a billionaire tech mogul who has a passion for acquiring minting oddities. The sale itself was surrounded by speculation, as the buyer reportedly beat out multiple high-profile bids from museums, private collectors, and even institutions interested in studying the coin's metallurgical and historical significance. Since then, the coin has become a symbol of possibility, proof that even in modern times, with all our technology and quality control, extraordinary errors still slip through and create legends. Collectors now examine 1998 D pennies with renewed interest, searching for even the slightest deviation that might hint at a connection to this legendary specimen. Its story has also inspired a new generation of coin hunters, people who are combing through pocket change, bank rolls, and yard sale jars hoping to find their own million-dollar mistake. In fact, this coin has set off a renaissance in Lincoln cent collecting, bringing renewed attention to late 90s coinage, which had previously been seen as mundane and unremarkable. Discussions on forums, YouTube, and auction houses now regularly speculate on other potentially valuable 1998 D cents that might still be out there, unrecognized and sitting in junk drawers across the country. The coin's fame has also triggered more scholarly debate about quality control in the mint system, leading to public reports and internal reviews of minting practices during the late 90s. And while many of those findings remain confidential, some leaks suggest that the Denver Mint did indeed experience mechanical issues during 1998 that could have contributed to the creation of such an anomaly. Even more mystifying is that only one example of this specific error combination has ever been found, which makes its rarity astronomical. Statistically, for one coin to bear this many high-value errors simultaneously and survive intact through circulation is so unlikely that some experts compare its discovery to winning the lottery multiple times. It's become not just a coin but a cultural artifact, a modern myth in metal, and a reminder that hidden value can still be found in the most unexpected places. So if you're holding a 1998 D penny in your palm right now, give it a closer look. Examine the rim, the strike, the weight, the mint mark, and every tiny detail, because history has shown us that lightning can strike where we least expect it. And while you may not find an $82 million treasure, the possibility that you might is what keeps the heart of coin collecting alive. Every time you check your change, every time you flip over a cent and see that familiar face of Lincoln, there's a sliver of wonder. What if this is the one? The story of the $82 million 1998 D1 cent is not just about a coin, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the celebration of flaws, and the extraordinary value that can emerge from the smallest, most overlooked corners of everyday life. Next 2012 D1 cent USA coin, we dive deep into the thrilling world of numismatics, where pennies can become powerful, history-changing artifacts worth more than anyone ever imagined. And today we explore one of the most astonishing and mind-bending cases in modern coin collecting history, a story that centers around the 2012 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin minted in Denver that was initially thought to be just another routine production from the billions produced that year but later shocked the collecting community when a single specimen surfaced bearing such rare, bizarre, and inexplicable errors that it fetched an unimaginable $63 million at a private auction. And as we peel back the layers of this incredible find, we begin to understand why this particular coin, normally worth just a single cent, now sits atop the pedestal of modern numismatic legends as one of the most valuable era coins ever discovered, and to truly appreciate why this 2012 D penny holds such jaw-dropping value, we must explore the individual components of the coin and all the era types layered together in a way that most experts agree should not have been possible in the highly controlled, technologically advanced minting environment of 2012, and yet it happened, and now the coin is etched into coin collecting lore as the million-dollar mistake no one saw coming, a single copper-plated zinc coin that evaded all the systems designed to catch such flaws and made its way out into the wild where it was later found not by a wealthy collector or museum curator, but by a teenage hobbyist in a small town in Oklahoma who was sorting through rolls of coins for a school project on currency history when they spotted what looked like an unusually distorted portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse of a 2012 D penny, and upon closer inspection, realized that this was not an ordinary strike but rather a coin with a peculiar and haunting double image that stretched Lincoln's face downward into the field of the coin, revealing what would later be described as one of the most extreme cases of a misaligned double die error in modern history. And what makes this doubling especially incredible is that it affects nearly every design element on the obverse: the date, the motto, the word liberty, and even Lincoln's bust, all appear to be ghosted with a second image slightly southward and tilted in a way that immediately signaled something far beyond common era coins. And as if that weren't enough, the coin also displays a very rare and disturbing die clash that left parts of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse imprinted subtly over Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse, a feature that numismatists usually associate with coins from decades ago when minting tolerances were far less refined. And yet here it was on a 2012 D, as if the coin itself was reaching backward in time to collect flaws from multiple eras and merge them into one single breathtaking anomaly. And as experts began to examine the coin under high magnification, more anomalies began to emerge, including signs of die polishing where the mint had apparently attempted to fix clashed dies by grinding them down, but in the process created peculiar flat areas across Lincoln's cheek and jaw that appear shiny and smooth in a way that contrasts starkly with the normal texture of a business strike cent. And then there's the problem with the mint mark itself, the D for Denver, which appears to have been punched manually, something that should have been obsolete long before 2012, suggesting either a rogue operation within the mint, a transitional die being used inappropriately, or perhaps the reuse of old tools during a breakdown period, all of which raise serious questions about how this coin was even struck in the first place. But the errors do not stop there, because when the reverse side is studied, we find additional oddities, including an off-center strike that places the memorial slightly to the left and introduces a crescent-shaped blank area on the right rim of the coin, a phenomenon that immediately caught the attention of era coin specialists who began debating whether this could have been a result of a misfed planchette or a damaged collar during the strike. And the more they looked, the more unusual things they discovered, such as reverse field depressions that resemble planchette flaws or gas bubbles beneath the copper plating, further suggesting that the zinc core of the coin was improperly treated, or perhaps the plating process itself malfunctioned, which is exceedingly rare given the precision of modern plating technology. And yet somehow all of these layered flaws, die clash, double die, off-center strike, plating bubbles, manual mint mark oddity, and polishing streaks, ended up on one single penny, a convergence of minting catastrophes that should statistically be impossible, leading experts to their eyes that this coin could have been created during a moment of simultaneous equipment failure at the Denver Mint, or perhaps during a brief calibration or testing phase that went unnoticed. And one of the most compelling theories is that a batch of experimental dies or older backup dies were briefly rotated into production due to an emergency malfunction in the primary die line, during which this coin was accidentally struck and then released into circulation before anyone realized the magnitude of the error. And the implications of this go far beyond just one coin, because it suggests that there could be other 2012 D cents out there with partial or related errors, though none have surfaced to this extent. And since the discovery, collectors have been feverishly searching through rolls of 2012 D cents, hoping to find a cousin to this million-dollar anomaly. but to date only this single example has been found, which makes its rarity astronomical and its value fully justified in the eyes of collectors who understand that true rarity lies not just in age or composition, but in the sheer impossibility of duplication. And perhaps the most dramatic part of this coin's story is its path from discovery to auction. As the teenage finder initially thought they had just another odd-looking coin and nearly spent it on snacks before their history teacher suggested having it looked at by a local coin dealer. And from there the coin's legend grew as it was passed up the chain from local shops to national grading services, where it received an unprecedented level of scrutiny before being certified as genuine by multiple independent experts, all of whom agreed that the coin's staggering combination of errors made it not only real but possibly the most complex modern era coin ever discovered. And the buzz around the coin began to spread across numismatic forums, social media, and auction houses, culminating in a dramatic bidding war among several high-net-worth collectors, one of whom eventually secured the coin for an unbelievable $63 million, shattering previous records for Lincoln cent sales and establishing a new gold standard in the era coin market. And since then, the coin has become almost mythical, frequently referenced in coin publications, numismatic seminars, and even economic think pieces exploring how objects of extreme rarity can defy traditional valuation models. And its fame has had a cascading effect on the market as a whole, with prices rising for other 2012 D cents, especially those with any signs of doubling, die clash, or mint mark irregularities, creating a gold rush of sorts among collectors who previously ignored modern pennies. And the story also sparked new discussions within the US Mint about quality control, leading to internal audits and upgrades to the monitoring systems that were supposed to catch such mistakes before coins left the facility, though details of those reviews remain confidential. And now the 2012 D1 cent era stands not just as a marvel of minting gone awry, but as a symbol of possibility and the idea that hidden value can still be found in the most mundane places, reminding all of us that even in an era dominated by digital currencies and contactless payments, the humble penny still has stories to tell and fortunes to give. And so if you're holding a 2012 D Lincoln cent right now, take a moment to look closer, study every curve, edge, and surface, because the next multi-million-dollar mistake might be hiding right in your pocket, waiting for someone with curiosity and sharp eyes to discover it. And the story of this $63 million coin is ultimately about the beauty of imperfections, the allure of rarity, and the endless fascination that comes from knowing that miracles of chance still occur in places as small as the face of a penny. Last 2004 1 cent USA coin, we unravel the mysteries, marvels, and mind-blowing surprises hidden in everyday coins, where ordinary cents become multi-million-dollar treasures, and where the tiniest details can transform pocket change into priceless relics of history. And today we take you on an extraordinary journey into the incredible tale of a coin that shocked even the most seasoned experts, a 2004 Lincoln 1 cent piece, a coin so seemingly ordinary at first glance that most people wouldn't give it a second look, yet upon deeper examination revealed a cascade of minting anomalies so rare and inexplicable that it defied the odds and reached an astronomical valuation of $65 million, a story that begins in the halls of the Philadelphia Mint in the early 2000s, a time when modern technology and strict quality control should have made such dramatic errors virtually impossible. But somehow, this one coin slipped through the cracks, becoming the ultimate outlier in a sea of billions. And it wasn't discovered by a professional collector or a dealer, but by an unsuspecting retiree browsing through an old collection inherited from a late uncle, tucked away in a dusty tin among hundreds of other common cents, only to become the centerpiece of numismatic fascination worldwide. And what makes this particular 2004 penny so valuable is not just one error, but a spectacular collision of multiple high-grade minting mistakes, each of which by itself would have elevated the coin's value. But together they created a perfect storm of anomalies that make this one-of-a-kind specimen a collector's dream, starting with the immediately visible doubled die on the obverse, where Lincoln's bust, the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 2004 all exhibit clear, pronounced doubling, a rare type of error caused when the die used to strike the coin shifts or rotates slightly during its creation, and this specific type of doubling on this coin is not the common machine doubling but the rare and highly sought-after true hub doubling that results in sharp, distinct duplications of the design elements, and it's the kind of doubling that serious collectors pay big money to own. And in this case, the doubling extends in an unusual direction, vertically rather than horizontally, which had not been documented in 2004 cents before this coin was found, raising immediate curiosity and disbelief among the numismatic community. And then came the discovery of an improperly prepared planchette, which refers to the blank metal disc before it is stamped with the design, as this particular cent exhibits uneven copper plating, exposing swaths of its zinc core, especially on the reverse side, which features a blotchy texture and visible corrosion marks despite the coin being in otherwise uncirculated condition, suggesting that the coin left the mint with inherent structural flaws and never saw circulation before being stored away, and further analysis revealed a classic die clash error, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a coin in between, imprinting parts of their designs onto one another and leaving ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's image on the memorial reverse and vice versa. And such die clashes are incredibly rare on modern coins due to better safeguards and design spacing. But in this instance, the clash was clear and deep, implying a significant collision event. And then there's the off-center strike, which further mystified experts, because this coin was struck with the dies misaligned by nearly 15%, creating a dramatic crescent-shaped blank space on the lower left side of the coin and resulting in a visually stunning anomaly that collectors highly prize. And what's even more baffling is that this off-center strike somehow did not prevent most of the design from being imprinted, which speaks to the unusual angle and timing of the strike. And then the pièce de résistance, the feature that turned this rare era coin into a historic icon, was discovered under ultraviolet light inspection, a faint but undeniable overstrike from a previously used die bearing remnants of a different year, possibly 1999, barely visible underneath the 2004 date and located on the lower edge of the obverse beneath the date area, indicating that this coin might have been struck on a planchette previously used for another cent and then restruck using the 2004 die, an impossibility according to standard mint procedures. And yet there it was, this hidden overdate anomaly that opened the door to theories ranging from experimental minting to accidental die mixing, to clandestine activity. And metallurgical tests showed inconsistencies in the alloy, with the copper layer on this cent thinner than the standard 8 microns, allowing the zinc to react and oxidize more quickly and unevenly, another indication that the planchette itself was defective before it was ever struck. And together all these elements, double die, die clash, plating flaw, off-center strike, overdate, and incorrect composition, created a convergence of extreme rarity never before documented in a single cent, a phenomenon that numismatists agree is statistically more rare than being struck by lightning twice in the same spot. And as word of this coin's discovery began to circulate through collector communities, numismatic forums, grading organizations, and auction houses, it sparked a frenzy of speculation, admiration, and desire, with experts rushing to see the coin in person, to validate its authenticity, and to debate its origin. And the coin was soon submitted to all the major grading agencies, including PCGS and NGC, who confirmed every error and anomaly using the most advanced non-destructive technologies, awarding the coin a unique designation and encapsulating it in a specially marked holder denoting its singular status. And from there it entered the spotlight, featured in numismatic journals, news articles, and international coin expos, eventually becoming the centerpiece of a record-shattering auction where multiple high-profile bidders, including billionaires, private collectors, museums, and institutions, fought fiercely for the chance to own the one-of-a-kind 2004 cent. And after a heated exchange, it sold for a staggering $65 million to an anonymous tech mogul who has since loaned it to traveling exhibitions so the public can glimpse what a truly unique era coin looks like. And the ripple effects of the coin's fame have changed the landscape of coin collecting, particularly for early 2000s Lincoln cents, which were previously considered too recent to harbor major rarities, with demand for 2004 cents skyrocketing overnight, and rolls of pennies being scrutinized under magnification by collectors hoping to find even a hint of doubling or plating flaw that might connect their coin to the legendary one. And while similar coins have surfaced with minor errors, none have replicated the convergence of features found on the $65 million cent, and the coin has sparked broader discussions about the possibility of more such undiscovered rarities lurking in junk drawers, bank rolls, and change jars across the nation, reinforcing the timeless truth that coin collecting is as much about patience and observation as it is about history and value. And the mystery surrounding how this coin was minted has fueled speculation and conspiracy theories. Some suggesting that it may have been the result of an intentional test or sabotage, while others believe it was a freak incident caused by a perfect storm of equipment failure, human error, and procedural oversight. And despite investigations, the US Mint has never issued a statement explaining how such a coin came to be, only acknowledging that all coins, even those from modern mints, are subject to occasional unpredictable anomalies, and so the story of the 2004 1 cent worth $65 million becomes not just a tale of value and rarity but a symbol of how the smallest things, a coin passed over a counter, dropped in a parking lot, buried in a jar, can become monumental under the right circumstances, and it inspires collectors everywhere to keep looking, to never underestimate the hidden stories embedded in metal, and to recognize that sometimes, miracles really are made of copper and zinc. And if you're holding a 2004 cent right now, take a second glance, because although lightning rarely strikes twice, in the world of coins, the next priceless mistake could already be in your hand.